evening. Welcome to Sound Health on Lagos Television. I am Olasumbo Modupe. Today on the program, we are looking at cerebral palsy, how to live and manage the condition. Cerebral palsy is a group of neurological disorder that affects the body. This is our focus today on Sound Health once again. The conversation begins after this break. Please stay tuned. It is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. Joining us via Zoom this evening is Air Vice Marshal Femi Gbadebo, retired OFR, and he is also the founder of Cerebral Palsy Initiative, and he is going to share his expertise on how to live with the condition. Good evening, Air Vice Marshal Femi Gbadebo, and thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Good evening, and thank you for having me on the program.
All right, Air Vice Marshal Femi Gbadebo. It's been a long time coming. Officially, the world started celebrating cerebral palsy about, let's say, more than 10 years ago in 2012. Would you say we've achieved a lot with this awareness and advocacy?
Oh, definitely. In 2012, when we decided to start Benola Cerebral Palsy Initiative, you couldn't get a picture, talk less of a video, of a Nigerian child or adult living with cerebral palsy. In fact, for my wife and I, it was an eye-opener when we went to India in March 2013 to run into a couple of adults. One had a master's degree and so on with cerebral palsy. But when we came back and we started to run our programs, we found to our delight that we even have people in Nigeria with master's degree. The unfortunate thing at that time is that some of them were not even aware that was cerebral palsy, because you see, cerebral palsy affects you in so many different ways. You cannot find two people with cerebral palsy who are displaying the same exact type of symptoms. There's a commonality in the sense that, they have problems with movement control, but because it affects in different parts, either the left side of the body, the right side of the body, just the lower side of the body, or the whole part of the body, you find some people with cerebral palsy who are able to walk fairly well, those who speak very well, those who are able to attend classes and do well academically, and those who can do virtually nothing by themselves. And the situation we found ourselves in, let's say up till the early 2000s, is that many who even went to university, I'll tell you, people graduated from prime universities in Nigeria, and the authorities and everybody didn't know that what they had was cerebral palsy. Yeah, they had a problem, but they were able to manage and perform well academically. We even ran into a young man of about late 20s in 2014, who actually said it was when he went for the NYC program and fell sick in the camp that the doctors there diagnosed his cerebral palsy. Meanwhile, this is something that can only affect you before you are age 5. The symptoms, of course, can begin to, you know, so that's why we tell parents the fact that you are told at 1 or 2 years that your child has cerebral palsy has not certified their limitation in life. Things are going to happen as they grow. And of course, there's something we call early intervention, which just about everybody talks about these days in different areas of life. That the earlier you accept the condition and begin to manage the children properly, the better they will be able to cope with other aspects of life as they grow.
All right, hey, Marshal Femi Gbadebo, thanks so much for that insight. I would like to know that young man that got to know about cerebral palsy at that age. Does that mean even if you were not born with that condition at birth, doesn't mean you are liable or you are anyone could be at risk of cerebral palsy? Let me put it that way.
Okay, I said something earlier. Maybe I was a little bit too fast. Cerebral palsy occurs at birth due to complications in the womb or a delayed process of the birth where the child does not get to breathe early. So they suffer a little bit of oxygen starvation. And then, of course, as the child grows, if they are quote unquote normal, anywhere before 3.5, 4 years old, they could have all kinds of sicknesses like meningitis, acute malaria, and even jaundice, you know. These things, if conditions, if not properly treated, could result in a damage to that part of the brain that controls motor movements. And because the damage has happened, which could be slight, severe, or moderate, it will now affect how that child develops their form. And that's why I said that once a child has hit the age of 5 and they suffer some kind of neurological damage, maybe an accident, mismanagement by the nanny or something, what they are going to have is some kind of stroke and maybe physical paralysis, but it is not cerebral palsy.
Okay, so who is more at risk, boys or girls? Because according to the World Health Organization, 70% of cerebral palsy cases result from a birth injury. Tell us, who is more at risk, boys or girls now?
For some reason, which has not been, or at least I've not been able to establish, boys are more at risk to damage at birth, injuries at birth. And at the end of the day, what you'll find that even today, when you look around, you are likely to find more girls with cerebral palsy who have done quite well in spite of their condition. So I think it all has to do with the activity, how active boys are at a very tender age, even from the womb. We have seen cases where twins are born, you have identical twins, but you usually have a lot of non-identical twins. And the real major difference is that one child has been more active in the womb and as such has received more nutrition from the mother, even including oxygen. And so at the end of the day, you see that, as they grow, you see a marked difference in their ability to do certain things. And it's just one of the realities of life that we have to live with, accept, and figure out how to manage it.
Okay, are there other risk factors? Because according to a recent data shared by the World Health Organization, 1 in 4 have epilepsy, 1 in 2 persons living with cerebral palsy also have an intellectual disability, as well as some other milestones, interference. Are there other risk factors? Because
I have a lot of information, and you're absolutely correct. It is, you see, cerebral palsy occurs because of that injury. As a child, the injury to the brain does not need even 30 seconds. A delay in oxygen causes the damage. And that's why when the child is diagnosed with cerebral palsy, it could be something clearly identified by a neurologist at birth, or failure to meet milestones like opening the eyes, moving, and particularly holding the neck steady. Doctors will tell you that you still need to study the child for a while to know exactly how much damage has happened and how little development the child will be able to make. But because it happens, like I said, in different doses and quantities, you will see different effects. A lot of children have just cerebral palsy, but lessons have shown that many children have cerebral palsy and other neurological disabilities like autism. Like some children have cerebral palsy and they're blind. They have cerebral palsy, they can't hear. It just goes on and on. So that's why I say it's impossible to put two CP children together, or for you to see a child with CP and now say definitely that, oh, great, if I see a child with CP, I'll know. What you can know, or you can tell for sure, is that the child is likely going to favor one side of the body because of the pull of the muscle. And so as young as maybe 6 months or so, you'll begin to notice that the child is clenching one fist. You'll begin to notice that the child leans to one side. You'll begin to notice that the child is unable to hold the head steady. The head will always drop one way or another. You'll also begin to notice that the child drools, because you see, saliva, primary purpose is to moisten our mouths to avoid our mouths getting dry. The tongue and the swallowing process is how we retain excess saliva, or we recover excess saliva. So when the tongue, which happens to be one of the strongest muscles in our body, is not functioning well, then it will affect the child's ability to swallow, which also means that the child may have difficulty in eating or even sucking breast, right? But the most obvious one is that the child will continue to drop saliva because he's not in a position to take it back into the body, so to speak. And so these are symptoms and signs that parents or friends or caregivers, siblings, should watch out for very early. And then, like I said, when the child is taken to the hospital and the child sees pediatrician, the pediatrician again will direct the parent to a neurologist who will do some specific studies, tests and all, from where they will confirm exactly how serious the child's situation is.
So in other words, one must be aware, one must be knowledgeable about this condition before you can even treat or care for the person living with the condition. So may I ask Marshal Femi Gbadebo, let's look at care now. You're an advocate, you're into this. I have to be cautious now not to call you a doctor, but you're an advocate. You know much more better than any other person now. So tell us, care for persons living with cerebral palsy. What is the best? I can't say what is the best way or what is the best sort of care for persons living with cerebral palsy, because it's a complex disability now, form of disability. What is the best form of care?
The primary caregiver for a child is usually the mother, and hopefully the father. And if there are other children in the house, then the siblings also come in handy. But because the mother is the first point of contact, some of these signs of cerebral palsy can be detected now, even at birth. And when it happens, what a proper hospitals do, and unfortunately we don't seem to have enough of those people. You see, we place too much emphasis on doctors and nurses, but there are other specialists who can help with care and management. These experts who can be social workers who have been specifically trained to identify the signs and symptoms and to guide the parents and caregivers. They are supposed to be the first point of call where the hospital will say, look, please spend some time with these parents to prepare them for the journey ahead, because it is a difficult journey and can be very dangerous, and very demanding on the parents, because there's a lot of disappointment. Everybody wants to have a child who will live up to a lot of expectations. And once it is obvious from day one that this child has a problem, many people get discouraged. So the idea of this kind of management for the parents is for them to understand CP and to understand that there are options, management options for the child. And the options have to start immediately. And the first thing really is for the parent to accept that, okay, this child does have a problem.
That has been Air Vice Marshal Femi Gbadebo, retired OFR, on how to live with cerebral palsy. We bring you the concluding part next week. Please stay with us. Sound Health continues with trending health report from around the world. It is still Sound Health on Lagos Television. More to come in a moment. Well, this is where we say thank you on today's episode of Sound Health. We've been talking cerebral palsy, how to live with the condition. Any form of disability is not a sign of failure. You need to embrace cerebral palsy and other physical challenges. For comments and inquiries, please send SMS to 0035826603 or follow us on social media at LTV Social, #SoundHealth. A sound health is a sound mind. Make healthy living your choice.